Well, welcome everybody to another session of Conscious Gatherers. I'm here, this is Terry Palma, and I'm joined tonight with Donna and Bev and Royse. Ladies, how are you doing?
It's Royse.
Hello?
We're good, thank you.
Oh my God, they
We're
went
doing
into the
good.
voice.
Welcome everybody to our episode 24, and today's date is September the 8th, 2020. So go ahead, Terry. Start us off with
We've got some great stuff tonight. We met last Tuesday as a group and had some great things come through. So tonight you'll be getting some of that, and you might even be getting some fresh channeling stuff that comes through from the ladies. Later on, I'll be sharing some information, some really good information from Neville Goddard. I believe I talked to him about him earlier. I've revisited some of his books and his works. He was in the late 40s, early 50s. Phenomenal speaker, and really had a grasp of who we are and how we actually manifest things in our lives. And the neat thing about what he did, he was able to correlate it to the writings in the Bible and actually interpret what they were saying. So I'll share some of that with us tonight. Bev, I think you had something you want to start off with?
I do. I'm going to start off with some of the information that's been that I've received this week, and we'll see where this takes us. And I can't say I understand it all, but I guess I do, thinking about it. But I'm going to start off with the word discernment that came up again today. And last week we did start off, always use discernment in everything that you hear. And here, just and read. So just want to make sure everybody understands that, because there's so much happening on this world right now, and you know what's real. We talked about that last week. The word real, or what's fake news, what's this, what's that, all of this, and we'll get into a little bit more of that in just a bit. But one of the things that words I received a few days ago was the two words started off with sequential programming. And what I was told is that in the sequence of events that are to follow, you will find yourself in the middle of unmatched parody. And that's a mixture of what you would call good or bad. So there's all kinds of things that continue to happen. And the word parody is like it's like a play, basically. So that is what's still going on right now. I asked the question programming because that's something we've talked about a lot on the show, because we know in this great experiment that is now hopefully ending sooner than later, is that we follow these programs that we set for ourselves to understand what it's like to live in the land of duality. So it's kind of interesting how things are, what we may say, falling apart, but other things are coming together. So keep that in mind as we talk today. When I asked about the programming, though, I was told programming is not quite the correct word, but close. The changes you will and are experiencing will continue until you reach that bliss, which is you. No encumbrances whatsoever. You in magnificence. They said fine-tunings are happening now, and the clear-headedness, and I got the word yes. A lot of people are not feeling very clear-headed at this time. And then this morning, I was sitting there just kind of tuning in, and I got the word caring. And it's basically most people care about the world, their families and themselves. And so there's lots of questioning as to what really is going on. And so that's for us to start really looking at what is really going on. And you can look at that in 3D sense, 4D sense, 5D sense, if that makes sense to you all. There has been, and what I what we call mind control going on. And again, it's like, okay, what is this mind control? And there's mind control using the mainstream media, and there's many other ways. And not to scare everybody, but just be cognizant of what's going on and has been going on. And it's like, hey, it's like we're being fooled into believing something when it's really not that way. And so the truth is coming out. This is the year of, well, it's probably going into the next year, about calling the Great Reveal. That's a terminology I think Donna you said a while back, and I have forgotten that. So that's that this is the year of 2020, and last week we talked about our plan 2020, but that's what came through me in saying, yeah, you guys set this up. So we're doing it, and now it's for us to continue looking at that. And there are those in this plan that don't want the old plan to collapse. However, I feel it's definitely collapsing, and we're seeing it. But the more and more we do see the truth that is out there, the underlying truth, understand what's going on, that the more the world will change, I feel, in a more benevolent way. So that's that. So I would like to have Royse and Donna join in, and Terry too, if any comments on that. And I know Royse is going to talk about a Dreamtime experience, that she was telling me about today, and we thought it was very interesting. Mm-hmm. So.
Okay, this is Royse. The experience that I had, it happened sometime back in the early 2000s, the best I can recall. And much like it is today, there was a lot of social unrest due to a clashing of the color of skin, which I don't know about you, but maybe it's because of the way I was raised, but I was raised colorblind. You see the people for their insides and not for what they look like on the outside. That never mattered to me. But here I was back in this time that I'm talking about, and all of this unrest, and it was upsetting me so badly. When I went to bed that night, I was praying so hard and meditating about it, trying to figure it out, what in the world is going on. I couldn't understand why people could only see the color of skin. It just boggled me so. And so I fell asleep. And I first began with a dream in which I found myself standing in front of a choir. And this choir had a mixture of people, different races, different ages. None of that mattered. And I was just listening to how beautiful they sounded when they sang. And the choir loft was, one of those really old ones in an old church where it had the really pretty paneling. And so I was just listening to this choir. And then I focused in on the choir director. And I guess she could feel me focus in on her, because she turned around and looked at me and smiled so big. And that was when I noticed how beautiful her skin was. It was a rich color like fine molasses. She just glowed. And her hair was long and very curly and black. She was obviously a black person. And she was absolutely gorgeous to me. And I was just filled with such glee, because here she was in her beautiful blackness leading this choir. And it was wonderful. And I was just listening to them and just reveling in the whole thing. And I began to see that the walls of the choir loft opened up, and I was now no longer in a dream. I was having an actual experience. I could see it, hear it, feel it. What I was seeing was an open vista that was mountainous, and in between the mountains were these deep valleys, and right after that another mountain, another deep valley, and every inch was covered by the presence of another choir member, and all of them were singing. Beautiful, beautiful, rich harmony, the likes I had never heard in my entire life. It had to have been at least 16 levels of harmony. It was just the most gorgeous thing I had ever heard. And the more I listened to them, the more I realized that I was singing along with them, and I was no longer standing anywhere. I was lifted up, and I couldn't even feel myself as being like in a person form anymore. I felt like I was like a cloud, and I was singing this song with these beings, and they were singing a song that was being created brand new that moment. But everyone knew the words, and everyone knew their part. It was being created anew right then. Everyone was singing as if they were one voice. All of these different looking, what would you call them? Angels? I don't know. Celestial beings, that's kind of how I would classify them. But it was just such a beautiful thing after what I had prayed and meditated on before I went to sleep, to experience that oneness instead of the fracturedness that I was experiencing in daytime living. And so that's what I would like everyone to think about, is that oneness. And you know, when I was singing that song with them, I was thinking really hard, I want to bring back some of this. I want to remember the words. I want to remember something. And so when I was no longer in the experience, the only thing that I could bring back with me of that tune was very few words, and they were, "Praises be to God."
Beautiful. That is so beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, that is gorgeous. This is Donna, and I've had similar dreams with singing where I'll be with a group of people, so I can really relate to it, and with a group of people that are kind of confused and maybe needing some help. It's different scenarios in each dream, and then I'll be there and I'll just start singing. It's like I'm trying to help the people, and I'll just start singing these tones, and they're not even normal songs, and then I just start lifting up off the ground, and I'm like in the air, and everybody's just lifted up. So we know the power of sound and love and light and color, so that can be very helpful during these times too, to tune into the best sounds and frequencies that you can, and for us to be aware of what's going on, but also at the same time tune into the highest, and be the highest and best that we can inside to help project that frequency. And there was something else I was thinking about sharing that because of people I've known through the years that Spirit has brought into my environment, I've met some very interesting people that have been on the inside, we'll just say, and kind of actually know what's going on in the inside of government and economy and different things. And this popped in to share that one of the friends had a prominent position in Hollywood, and the news stations would come to him to help change the words of people, of politicians, what they were saying on the news. And, of course, he was aware of their intent, and he refused to do it. But he was a very revered news or editor, film editor, and he could do anything. And these people do have the ability, even with people less capable than my friend, to change words and create whatever they want you to see. And there's one news station, he told me, he tells me quite a bit. I say, why don't you just put this out to people, just be anonymous, because he actually left Hollywood because of the corruption there, and to take a break from it and kind of create his own new reality. But one thing he shared with me, for any of you that want to consider it, there's a station that has a little red box down at the bottom in the lower right-hand corner. It's red, and it says the name of the station. And because we're being kind of apolitical here, I won't say the name of the station, but just look and see if there's a little red box down there, if they still have it on. And you could cover it up if you want to. Yeah. You could cover it up if you want to with what I did, because I would visit my mother a lot who would be watching it. And I took a little yellow piece of paper and actually taped it on the TV so that whenever she had that station on, we didn't have to have they used that for one of their mini modes for mind control, that they can project frequencies through there affecting people watching it.
Through their logo.
Yeah, their logo, and down in the right corner. And I noticed after I covered it up, I felt a little better. However, I knew their news was false, so I would encourage her to turn it off frequently. I couldn't stand to even watch it. But at least I probably won't say a whole lot more just because I don't want to go there. But you do have to be very careful these days of what you're listening to, what you're believing, no matter how polished they might seem. And we do have a lot of help going on with certain people that are aware and trying to help change all this. So just be very discerning, very discriminating, and for all of us to be in our hearts, of course. So I could say a lot more, but I won't. I'll pass it on to Terry. I guess Terry, unless anybody else had anything before Terry talks about Neville.
Well, one thing that I want to bring up is the term labels, and we label things, and that's part of the old programs. And so once we get rid of these labels, and that could be color of skin, right, left, Republican, Democrat, which is thrown out there constantly, at least around the world. But all of these things that we tend to label, and so you have to be one or the other, and to me that's BS.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like,
exactly.
wait a minute, I'm going to be true to myself, and the more that we are true to ourselves and then understand what's going on, I think that it's how we're going to get through these next few months, and the chaos, I feel, is going to settle down because there's going to be nothing to fight anymore, and people are fighting, and a lot of them don't want to let go, and that's up to them. That's their path. But at the same time, to pillage and loot or whatever it is that's going on, it's like that's losing respect for others, and having respect for everybody here without hurting another or their property is where we're going. And we're, again, everybody's going to be true to ourselves and true to each other, and that's mutual respect. So anyway, Terry, go ahead if you would. It may fit right in with what you're going to share with Neville. We'll find out. And if there's some time, then there's something else we're going to bring up. So go ahead.
Neville wrote several books back, and just lately, the ladies know I've been having some issues, and I was kind of foggy and stuff and what was going on. And then Neville came into mind, and I know he has the answers to everything, and I'm going to read some stuff tonight. So I utilized what Neville had taught and shared in his books, and it really changed things and helped me a lot. And that's what I'd like to share tonight. So what I'm going to read a couple of pages from his book called Your Faith is Your Fortune. And this is by Neville Goddard, Neville, Neville Goddard, Goddard. And you can find him. There's people that have him on the internet. He's got recordings you could listen to. I picked up this book from Amazon that had 10 of his books all in one, and I put it in my Kindle. So this is a couple pages from Your Faith is Your Fortune, Chapter 1. Before Abraham was. Verily, verily, I say unto you, before Abraham was, I am. John 8:58. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. John 1:1. In the beginning was the unconditioned awareness of being, and the unconditioned awareness of being became conditioned by imaging itself to be something. And the unconditioned awareness of being became that which it had imaged itself to be. So did creation begin. So basically he's saying that whatever you imagine, you put feeling into it, it's going to manifest. By this law, first conceiving, then becoming that conceived, all things evolve out of no thing, and without this sequence, there is not anything made that is made. Before Abraham, or the world was, I am. When all time shall cease to be, I am. I am the formless awareness of being, conceiving myself to be man. By my everlasting law of being, I am compelled to be and to express all that I believe myself to be. I am the eternal no-thingness, containing within my formless self the capacity to be all things. I am that in which all my concepts of myself live and move and have their being, and apart from which they are not. I dwell within every concept of myself. Within this, I ever seek to transcend all conceptions of myself. By the very law of being, I transcend my concepts of myself only as I believe myself to be that which does transcend. I am the law of being, and besides me there is no law. I am that I am. Chapter 2. You shall decree. Thou shalt also decree a thing, and it shall be established unto thee, and the light shall shine upon thy ways. You will also decree a thing, and it will be established for you, and light will shine on your ways. Thou shalt decree a thing, and it shall come to thee, and light shall shine in its ways. Job 22:28. So shall my words be that go forth out of my mouth. It shall not return to me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the thing hereto I send it. Isaiah 55:11. Man can decree a thing, and it will come to pass. Man has always decreed that which has appeared in his world. He is today decreeing that which is appearing in his world, and he shall continue to do so as long as man is conscious of being man. Nothing has ever appeared in man's world but what man decreed that it should. This you may deny, but try you will. You cannot disprove it, for this decreeing is based upon a changeless principle. Man does not command things to appear by his words, which are, more often than not, a confession of his doubts and fears. Decreeing is ever done in consciousness. Every man automatically expresses that which he is conscious of being, without effort or the use of words. At every moment of time, man is commanding himself to be and to possess that which he is conscious of being and possessing. These changeless principles of expression is dramatized in all the Bibles of the world. The writers of our sacred books were illuminated mystics, past masters in the art of psychology. In telling the story of the soul, they personified this impersonal principle in the form of a historical document, both to preserve it and to hide it from the eyes of the uninitiated. So he's telling us that if you read the Bible and in the passages, it's not something to take verbally and personally. It's a psychological history of man and what we do. I'd like to end with some words that were not from this book, but were in a writing that he did in the late 40s, 48, I believe. And it says here, I am the Lord thy God, which has brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. thou shalt have not other gods before me. Exodus 20:2-3. He says, now what a glorious revelation, your awareness now revealed as the Lord thy God. Come away from your dream of being imprisoned. Realize that the earth is yours, and the fullness thereof, the world and all that dwells therein. Psalms 24:1. You have become, that was the one, I'm quoting after I quote what was there. Now this is Neville. You have become so enmeshed in the belief that you are a man that you have forgotten the glorious being that you are. Now, with your memory restored, decree the unseen to appear as it shall appear, for all things are compelled to respond to the voice of God, your awareness of being. And that's what he's saying God is, the awareness of being. The world is at your command.
Yep.
That's
beautiful. That is beautiful.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And I like him
to...
so much. He can take a passage in the Bible and explain it and say and show what the writer was intending it to be, as opposed to what the theologians have taken now and praising individuals and stuff, which is not what the Bible was written for.
Mm-hmm.
I encourage everyone to go and look up Neville, order some of his books. He's got one called The Promise, Faith is Your Fortune, Imagination is the Key, stuff like that. They're all fantastic. And they all deal on basically the same principle of what I gave you tonight. Decree a thing and it shall come to pass. So when I was having these issues, I realized I was creating those issues. They were something of my own doing. And so I went in, and he says, you go deep, go deep, go deep. And the way you go deep is you go in and say, I am, I am, I am. And that is your universal I am, and it opens and expands yourself. And then you decree after what that is, what you want. I am in such and such. That's why in our language, and we've talked about this before, Bev, I know when you're talking and someone, you're not feeling well, you're something, and someone says something, you go, well, I'm not feeling well, I am sick. You never use those, because whatever follows I am, you're decreeing. Now, the more you put faith in it by feeling and believing, it will manifest. So if we're stuck and believing about our fears, which we talked about tonight, and things like that, well, that's what you're going to manifest in your world.
Right.
So think about your words, and especially I am, very, very strong.
Right, Terry, and I just wanted to say, too, this is Donna, even though I said what I said, we can all together manifest the kind of world we want. I mean, we can literally change timelines, and rather than projecting the things that people are saying is going to happen in November, no matter who gets elected, there's issues being talked about, for example, we can help transform that by our thoughts and projecting different, what I call timelines, different scenarios, and I know that's worked before in many situations, so I just want to add that in our thoughts, and what we think is going to happen is what's going to happen. So we influence things way more than we realize at a mass level, too, and especially when we have people working together like our group does here to project wonderful radiations out there and love and a higher frequency for people. And last week we saw the pyramids on the planet lighting up, and the energies between them were all enhanced, and like a communication system from up above, intergalactic, all around the planet, like lifting up the whole grid. But yeah, definitely we can transform what's going on. And I debated whether to share that little thing about the thing at the bottom of the screen, but I think it's good just to be aware of what's all around us. We don't have to give it a lot of power, but just to have the awareness level for more awareness, basically.
Yeah, that's no different than with your computer having the camera lens covered up by something when you have your computer turned on, just to keep your own space, your own space.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, right.
Well, I was just thinking about what you talked about, Neville, awareness of being, and the Bible being a psychological history. But I'm going to go back to the awareness of being, not back, but that's really what we are, and we are God. or we are spirit, we are all of that. I mean, it's all the same thing. And I was thinking about your dream, Royse's dream, and that is where she sees this harmony, and then it was being sung and made up as they went, and everybody knew their part. And so each of us have played our parts and in all our lifetimes, and we continue to do that because that's all part of our creation, and again, we are one. And so if you look at it that way, it's like, wow, if you can really see the beauty in that, it's pretty amazing. Mm-hmm. And instead of getting so caught up in the turmoil, what we call the turmoil of the world, we can see it going on, but that doesn't mean we have to jump in with both feet. So anyway, it's total awareness of who we truly are. And
when we're seeing all of that, the extremes, that tells us right there that we are not experiencing the center, because the center is beauty.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yes, in the beginning, the Word created everything, the Word, and then the light came in, and the Word is like singing. So remember to sing. We all need to remember to sing.
Even though some of us think we can't sing, but we can all sing. And that's that music that we play within.
Make a joyful noise.
Make a joyful noise. There we go.
However it comes out, party.
Yeah. Well, thank you all. I think it's been a pretty cool night with all the sharing that we've done. And thank you, Terry.
Thank you, Terry. That was great.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's great.
Okay.
So remember, for our listening audience, our next episode will be on September 15th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. You can always go to our YouTube channel, Conscious Gatherers, and all of our past shows are up there. This show will be up there hopefully within 48 hours. And we encourage you to go listen to it again, because I know I learn a lot more the second, third time I listen to something or read something. And leave your comments. We'd be happy to hear from you. And especially if you have a subject that you'd like us to talk about, we can take that under consideration. So, ladies, unless you have something else to add.
One moment, please. Terry, it's going to be actually September 22nd. It's in 2 weeks.
The 15th
right. is the week from today.
You're absolutely correct.
That's all right.
I'm
he's
right
in a different timeline. But anyway, yes. And also, we do these live, and we invite you to listen live if you feel so driven to, and to ask questions, that sort of thing. Or we do open the mics for that, and we do understand that many of you just prefer to listen at your leisure, and we appreciate that too.
Is there anybody?
Absolutely. Thank you for that correction. We would have had people up here, and nobody would have been there.
Yeah. Is there anybody on that does have a question before we sign off?
I didn't think I heard anybody.
All right, I don't think so. All right, very good. Okay, Terry, I'm going to let you sign off for us all. I appreciate everybody being here with us, and we look forward to talking and bringing you the next show in 2 weeks.
Very good. Ladies, say good night.
Good night.
Night.
Great week, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. See you in 2 weeks. Bye-bye.
All right, thank you. Bye.
Good night.